10 में से एक कोई फिटनेस कोच है जो अपने पोजीशन का गलत फ़ायदा उठाते हैं when they're training a female or a trailing a male, vice versa. There is a concept of क्या टच जो है वो सही है, क्या टच जो है वो गलत है. दोस्तों फिटनेस मेरे ज़िंदगी के बहुत करीब है एंड आई एब्सोल्युटली लव बीइंग हेल्दी, बीइंग फिट. एंड टुडे what we are going to talk about is exactly that. I think it's very important that India is fit. India is on the way to embrace great health. And the person that we are going to uncover today, he's a brilliant mind, an icon when it comes to fitness. The founder of FITTR, जिन्होंने बहुत सारी लोगों की जिंदगी बदल दी है. On the Lincia Rosario Show, we have Jitendra Chouksey joining us today. Welcome, and it's great to have you here. Thank you for the invitation. Accepted.
No, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
You know, I want to tell you something. When you walked in, the first compliment that I gave this gentleman is, आप कहीं से भी ऐसे नहीं लगते हैं कि you are a father, you have a kid, and मुझे ऐसे लगा कि एक कॉलेज का कोई स्टूडेंट एंट्री मार रहे हैं, and I'm going to learn from him.
Thank you for the compliment.
I know. So tell me this, that in India, a lot of people have a wrong notion about fitness. उनको लगता है कि वो लोग फिट है लेकिन असल में वो फिट नहीं है. ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग हैं. और आपका जो जर्नी है फ्रॉम ओबेसिटी टू बीइंग हु यू आर टुडे, आपको क्या लगता है कि एक फिट इंसान कैसा है? व्हाई इज दैट पर्सन फिट?
राइट, सो लोगों की अपने अपने डेफिनेशंस होती हैं हेल्थ और फिटनेस की, बिकॉज फिटनेस इज नॉट लाइक अ कॉन्क्रीट थिंग. इट्स लाइक इट्स समटाइम्स अ वर्ब, इट्स समटाइम्स एन एडजेक्टिव. यू आर फिट फॉर समथिंग और यू आर फिट. सो हर इंसान की अपने एक डेफिनेशन होती है. जस्ट लाइक people have different definitions of rich. People say, oh, he's a millionaire, he is rich, or वो लखपति है, so he is fit. Or somebody has 1,000 rupees, somebody has like 10 rupees, you'd say that 1,000 rupee guy is fit. So it's a very how do you say, it's not a fixed definition. So your definition of fitness is going to base around your surroundings. Where are you in your fitness journey? And somebody else's fitness definition is going to be different from yours. My definition of fitness, which is a simplified definition, is that if you are happy and if you are able to do all the things that you wanted to do in life without letting any of illnesses or your physical abilities come in the way, you are fit. And can you continue doing this for the rest of your life? That's my definition of fitness.
Wow. And yeah, now that I think about it, it is कई बार ऐसे होता है. Earlier, मुझे अभी भी याद है, जैसे मैं बेसिक चीज़ें नहीं कर पाती थी. लाइक माई ओन लगेज, पिकिंग अप माई ओन लगेज व्हेन आई वाज ट्रैवलिंग, आई वाज लाइक कोई और है तो मुझे हेल्प कर दो. तब मुझे ये एहसास हुआ कि यार मैं फिट नहीं हूँ. क्या मैं खुद का मैं अगर लगेज नहीं पिकअप कर सकती और मैं आई एम पैंटिंग. सो दैट्स व्हेन आई रियलाइज दैट देयर इज अ लॉट आई नीड टू डू फॉर माई सेल्फ. You have been overweight in the past,
yes,
right? मेरे कॉलेज के दिन मुझे भी याद है कि I was someone who was not toned. I had to really work on myself also. आपका ये journey जो है from being overweight to being the way you are super fit, ये सफ़र कैसे शुरू हुआ?
Right, so I used to be pretty unfit, unhealthy as a kid. एंड उसके कारण ना फैमिली, फ्रेंड्स, रिश्तेदार काफ़ी मुझे टीज करते थे. एंड दे वर लाइक यार कुछ करता क्यों नहीं. और वहाँ पे क्या ना कि एडजेक्टिव्स लोग काफ़ी यूज़ करते हैं, हाथी, गेंडा स्वामी, ऑल दोज काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. दे यूज्ड टू अफेक्ट मी. और आई थिंक आई वाज इन क्लास 8 व्हेन माय फ्रेंड टोल्ड मी कि अरे मोटे तू दिन भर खाता रहता है, कुछ करता क्यों नहीं है.
मैं तुम्हें पिक्चर ही नहीं कर सकती हूँ, मतलब तुम मोटे हुआ करते थे ऐसे, मुझे मतलब मैं it's very hard to visualize.
No, I was, and most of the times when I show people before and after, they simply refuse to believe that this is the same person. But I know I was that person, right? I've lived that life. तो वहाँ से फिर I joined a gym, and I come from a very small town, small village जहाँ पे फिटनेस का कोई कंसेप्ट नहीं होता है. तो वहाँ पे एक जिम था राम भाई का. राम भाई, उनको प्यार से लोग बोलते थे राम भाई, और उसकी मंथली फीस वॉज अराउंड 50 रुपीज़. तो वहाँ से मैंने एक्सरसाइज करना शुरू किया, और वहाँ पे जब कोई जिम जाता था तो पीपल यूज टू थिंक दिस गाय इज गोइंग टू बिकम अ गुंडा, राइट? सो बिकॉज यू नो सिविल पीपल एज पर वहाँ के जो लोग थे उनके हिसाब से सिविल लोग डोंट गो टू द जिम, दे डोंट वर्क आउट. इफ यू वर्क आउट यू आर लाइक सम सॉर्ट ऑफ like a gunda mawari. So it was very difficult to convince my family that I want to go to the gym, I'm just exercising, I'm not hanging out with drug peddlers or smugglers or gundas. I'm just hanging out with people who are just going there and working out, and managed to convince my family. I worked out and it kind of became a habit. The concept of nutrition came very late in my life. So even though I was lifting weights, I was exercising, I was still like golmole all through my, I would say even through my college life also. But then I think in 2010, and I've shared the story, I don't want to share it again on camera, when I followed juice detox, and I lost a lot of weight. And then
मतलब completely only juices,
and because there was nothing available, right? I'm talking about the time when we didn't have access to like a lot of information on internet, right? So किसी ने कुछ बोल दिया, किसी ने कुछ बोल दिया. So I thought, and I lost weight, and then I developed so many deficiencies that one fine day I was walking and I just passed out, right? That's when I started learning that there has to be a better way, there has to be a sustainable way of keeping myself fit. So when I started learning about quantified nutrition, it wasn't called quantified nutrition, we just coined the term. And then I started learning about protein, macros, micros, and then I started applying those concepts, and I started getting very, very fit. And then I started educating people also about health and fitness, started training people on WhatsApp, moved to Facebook group, and now of course we are
आपने रेवोल्यूशन क्रिएट किया है अभी फिटनेस के इंडस्ट्री में. मतलब व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में ट्रेन करना और फिर उसके बाद मतलब ये एक छोटा सा आइडिया आपका इतना बड़ा रेवोल्यूशन बनेगा. It will create a community which is called FITTR, having people joining from more than 100 countries, more than 3 lakh people's lives have transformed.
Yes.
ये आइडिया को रेवोल्यूशन बनाने में what kind of actions you had to go through and challenges you went through?
Well, देखिए आप कुछ भी लाइफ में करते हैं तो it doesn't come easy. You know, even if you're sitting here, I'm sure that you have your own journey, and nobody's life is easy. Everybody has to keep working hard. So hard work, consistency, dedication, discipline, setbacks. You know, there's days when you cry and you feel like the whole world is kind of, you know, against you. All those things happen, but when you want to do it, you just don't stop, right? So this was, I'm very passionate about health and fitness because I went through it, I suffered through it. I don't want people to suffer, and I found out a way where I can make people's lives better through whatever knowledge I have, and I was just way too passionate about it. So obstacles came, challenges came, all the problems happened, you know, from running out of money to, you know, people leaving to people accusing to all sorts of things. But I think I was way too stubborn to stop.
That's incredible that it's only when you have that kind of passion, तब जाके इतनी सारे लोगों की जिंदगी बदल सकती है क्योंकि वो अंदर से आता है. There's a drive to do so much more beyond yourself, right?
Yeah.
Which brings me to the impact that you've created is not only in India but also internationally.
Okay.
क्या आपको अलग देखने मिलता है when it comes to fitness in India and the fitness abroad? The respect given to fitness coaches internationally, the respect given to coaches here.
I think once you become part of a civilized society, and if you know about Maslow's hierarchy, right, the hierarchy of needs. So there's a phase when you're making enough money and you have a decent job and everything is fine, but you start working on yourself, right? You start working on yourself because it's mind, body, and soul, like the Trinity, but usually the body first. If your body is not fixed, you cannot fix your mind, and if your mind and body is not in sync, you can't really do soul searching. So even though we are a land of spirituality, I think कहीं ना कहीं इंडिया में एक वो जो हेल्थ और फिटनेस का कंसेप्ट था, in the last 50 years it has got from bad to worse. And our Western culture has influenced us so badly, our choices have become affected by Western influence so badly, that today people do not understand the concept of staying healthy and fit. I guess we went from not having enough food to eat to now eating like monsters, and it's not helping anybody. And when you do not recognize the concept of health and fitness, you tend to not have adequate amount of respect for people who are doing it. You only realize it when you are turning 50. Now you cannot move, you are relying on medicines, you have your medical bills, which are, taking you towards poverty. That's when you realize, but usually that's when it's too late. So I believe it starts by acknowledging that you need to be healthy, and then you start respecting the people who are making you healthy. It's very important. I think this happens much better in countries outside India, and then in India, the penetration of fitness in India is extremely poor. Less than 50 lakh people have gym memberships out of 1.4 billion people. Less than 0.03% of people do any sort of indulgence into health and fitness, as opposed to 20% in the US, 15% in the UK, and even 3% in Sri Lanka. In India, the penetration of fitness is very poor.
We have a long way to go, and that's why आप जैसे लोग, आप जैसे जो communities है, वो काफ़ी impact करते हैं. And what I think that is the need of the hour, right? With the number of coaches that are a part of your community, because you can only do so much.
Yeah.
With your community, there are so many more people that you can reach out to, hold their hands, mentor. क्योंकि मैं मेरे फिटनेस जर्नी की अगर मैं बात करूँ जैसी, तो योगा मेरे लिए मेरे दिल के बहुत करीब है, और मुझे योगा बहुत ज़्यादा पसंद है. थैंक्स टू माय गुरु रविंदर सर, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर मेकिंग मी फॉल इन लव विद योगा. मैंने ये देखा है कि अगर आपके टीचर्स अच्छे होते हैं तो आप फिटनेस का आपका जर्नी जो है आसान होता है. आपके कम्युनिटी में इतने सारे फिटनेस कोचेस हैं, आप कैसे डिसाइड करते हैं कि ये फिटनेस कोच हमारे साथ काम करेंगे, हमारे वैल्यू सिस्टम को समझते हैं?
So most of the coaches that we have on the platform are part of the FITTR community. They started their journey with FITTR, and roughly 30 to 40% of them actually were our clients at some point of time. And the way it works is that you come to FITTR, and then you see how beautiful this community is. You train yourself, either do it by yourself or you take help from a coach. And because at every step of the way, nobody is forcing anything onto you, and nobody is judging you. And then you get not just physically better, but mentally also you get better, because there's a beautiful community which is, all about support. At some point of time, and you see people trying to give back to the community, you develop the same sense, like, I want to give back to the community. That's when you are ready to become a coach, because a coach is not just who's just talking the talk. He has to be somebody who's walking the walk. And usually the people who've been there, done that, they empathize more with people who don't know how to begin their first step. So the reason I empathize with unfit people or people who are overweight is because I've been there, and I know how much it sucks to be unhealthy and unfit. even though the society moving towards, like don't judge, body positivity, and like don't shame people and everything, but deep down everybody is judging you, and you can't change that because that's part of who we are. It's in our nature. It's basically ties in with human evolution. It's all about survival of the fittest. And so while I empathize, I don't want them to just stay where they are, because if I could get better, I'm pretty sure that with my help or coach's help or the community's help, they can get better too, and it's a much better life here.
Let's elaborate on body positivity, क्योंकि काफ़ी लोग body positivity के बारे में बात करते हैं. There are hashtags over it. What's your take on body positivity?
I think body positivity, the original intent of the movement should have been around things that you cannot control, things that you cannot change. For example, I cannot change my color. If I'm brown, I'm brown. If somebody is black, they're black. If somebody is white, they're white, right? It should be around the scars that I get. Like if I'm a mother, I get pregnancy stretch marks. I can't fix that. If I'm somebody who has lost weight and I'm getting stretch marks, if I've gained weight, I'm getting stretch marks. I can't fix that. That's something I cannot change, right? I shouldn't be judged on that, right? If somebody is losing their hair, if somebody is losing their eyebrows because of an autoimmune condition which they have no control over, I shouldn't be able to judge them. So I think that's what body positivity should be about. Body positivity shouldn't be about not taking care of yourself. If you say, I'm sitting at 40% body fat, I'm not going to exercise, I'm not going to eat right, that is wrong. That is not body positivity. If you really love your house, do you let it get filled with garbage?
No.
What do?
You
clean your house. So body positivity is about loving yourself. Loving yourself is a responsibility. When you love somebody, you have to be accountable to them. You have to take care of them. If you really love your body, you have to take care of your body. When your kids do something, if they're doing something wrong, as a parent, you become strict with them. Even though the kids don't like it, you're like, I'm your parent, I'm doing this. Someday you'll realize I did this because I care for you, right? You don't just feed them chocolates because you love them. That's not love, that's show off. So when you know that you're unhealthy and you're still not taking care of your body, that's not body positivity. That's some sort of a very toxic relationship which you're portraying outside in the world, that, hey, I'm unhealthy, but I love it. That's wrong. That's not body positivity.
But there also has to be an acceptance of who I am. For example, that today मैं बहुत ज़्यादा पतली हूँ या मैं बहुत ज़्यादा heavier side पर हूँ, मुझे changes करने हैं, but there has to be an acceptance first of where I am right now. Like, I love this body the way it is right now. I'm working towards it, but that love has to be there. क्योंकि बहुत बार ऐसे होता है कि आप जब hate करके आप करते हो, that is toxic.
Absolutely.
And that is something I think we also need to work upon.
Absolutely. See, discipline, and a lot of people, so there was this one video I did where people said, hey, I'm not motivated enough to work on myself. I actually said the same thing, which I'm telling you, that discipline, motivation, or consistency, it comes from loving yourself. How come parents who probably enjoyed doing whatever they were doing, like sleeping late nights or waking up at whatever time they want to, suddenly start changing their entire schedule around their kids? When kids happen, your moms wake up and make breakfast for us at 7 in the morning. Why do they have to do that? Because they love us. So when we love something, when we love somebody, our actions start changing and we become more disciplined, we become more motivated. The reason I go to my job is because I have to make money. Why do I have to make money? Because I have to put the food on the table. For who? For the people I care about. So when you care about something, when you love something, you automatically become disciplined or motivated, right? So if you love yourself, you'll become disciplined and motivated to do what's right for your body, right? So self-love is extremely important. People confuse self-love or do not understand what self-love really is. They say, I love my body. No, you don't love your body. You think you love your body. Where are the actions that prove you love your body?
Taking that in. lot of heart attacks happening right now at the gym.
Okay, that's wrong. Statistically, that is untrue.
That's not true?
No, that's not true. Lot of
न्यूज़पेपर में ऐसे आता
Exactly,
है, right?
yes,
तो मैं
yes.
exactly उस तरीके से बोल रही हूँ कि
Sure.
जैसे बोलते हैं कि आजकल बहुत हार्ट अटैक्स हो रहे हैं
Right.
जिम में ओवर ट्रेनिंग की वजह से. इस पर क्या टिप्पणियाँ हैं आपकी?
पहली चीज़ तो स्टेटिस्टिकली ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है. I don't think there is any sort of abnormal data where we see, okay, a lot more people are dying in the gyms. It has been there for a while where, you know, once in a while somebody will die in a gym because of overtraining, because of, let's say, some sort of genetic problem which they did not diagnose earlier. Or maybe they had hypertension, they probably went too much on that particular day, or people smoking and drinking, but unfortunately at the wrong place at the wrong time. It could also be because of a genetic predisposition, but they died at the gym, so everybody thinks because of gym. And people not sleeping enough, right? But having said all of this, we have to understand that these cases are extremely rare. The reason why everybody thinks that these cases are on the rise, not looking at statistics, is because media has found this trick where they try to bring out stories which make people click. You know, so it makes for a good clickbait. Hey, somebody died in the gym. Of course you're going to click and say, because see, it then also conforms to your bias. If you are a lazy person who doesn't like going to the gym, you would love for somebody to agree to you that going to gym killing you. If you want a scientific explanation, you would dig into it. If you don't want a scientific explanation, you just want to tell people, I don't go to the gym because gyms are killing people, you'd show them the newspaper, right? What is statistically correct though? What are the facts? The facts are that in India, every year 20 lakh people die of heart attacks. Every year, 20 lakh people die of heart attack. That's the truth. This is statistics. How many people actually die in the gym? Maybe 5 people, maybe 10 people in a year. That's certainly not on the rise. How many articles you read? If you keep a track of every single death in the gym that has been reported by news media in a year's time, I'm betting you wouldn't come across more than 20 or 30 such articles. What about 20 and 30 lakh people who are dying every year because of cardiovascular incidents? Media doesn't want to report that. Even if they do, it's boring. Nobody cares. But the minute you add some masala, the add you flavor, कि, hey, don't work out, otherwise you'll die in the gym, it sells.
Yeah, सब जगह मसाला पसंद है खाने में. So recently this episode happened with a friend of mine. और मुझे ये आपसे पूछना था कि कभी-कभी ऐसे होता है कि 10 में से एक कोई फिटनेस कोच है जो अपने पोजीशन का गलत फ़ायदा उठाते हैं. When they're training a female or training a male, vice versa, there is a concept of क्या टच जो है वो सही है, क्या टच जो है वो गलत है. क्योंकि मैं खुद एक्रो योगा करती हूँ मेरे टीचर के साथ, एंड आई हैव सो मच ऑफ रेवरेंस फॉर हिम, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि मैं उनकी स्टूडेंट हूँ और जिस तरीके से उन्होंने मेरा ट्रस्ट अर्न किया है इतने सालों में. तो हम गुड टच और बैड टच को कैसे पता लगा सकते हैं?
Right. So it's very, like, there's no good answer to this question. Okay. First of all, because we train people online, we don't physically train people, but I understand what you're talking about. I think when you go to a professional, there's a certain understanding between you and the professional that this is what is allowed, this is what is not allowed. I mean, the professional shouldn't cross the boundaries in first place. For example, if you are squatting, they will have to touch your body, they will have to support you, right? Because if they don't touch you, if by any chance you're like not able to get yourself up, he will have to hold your back and he'll probably have to lift the weight, right? So that's there. Apart from that, a lot of coaches, let's say, there's MMA, there's different kinds of sports where the coaches literally have to lift the athletes, take care of them, massage them, and when the bodies are sore, take care of them like that. But it's all done in a very asexual manner, and I guess you can't, like, I think it's a mutual understanding between two people, and
between the teacher and
between the teacher and the student, between what's allowed and what's not allowed. And I think sometimes people do kind of overreach their professional boundaries, especially gyms. I know this happens, and that's not correct. I think it's lack of education, it's lack of manners, and I think it also develops a feeling of insecurity and distrust in the whole fitness culture. It should certainly not be entertained. I would rather step on the side of caution than make a mistake which I will regret. Right? So to all the fitness coaches or trainers out there, you have to understand if the females are not coming to the gym, this could be one of the reasons. So how can you make the environment more safe, more welcoming? Maybe talk to them. Do I have permission to touch you?
Wow.
I mean, if
I've
you
never
have to,
had it, like, I've never had a trainer ask me that, though.
I mean, it would sound weird,
but no, trust me, that would be so nice.
Yeah.
Think about this, JC, ki on day one, first of all, you're going for your workout, you already have your heart racing, ki kya hai, kaise, this is a new person, you're trying to figure it out. And imagine if a person just says, hey, can I just touch you, and you know, in a very respectful way. JC, I think that would be like, wow, I feel so much better. That my teacher is asking me that, right? When you do it without asking,
yes, then kind of takes
yeah, because as a woman, your antennas are already going up. It is just built in us. It's sad, but it is built in us. True. Right? So you're thinking, okay, is this really? It just happens.
Is it even needed?
Yeah, is
this
needed?
Yeah, is this
but when
needed?
the person will say, I'm doing this because I really feel कि आपका जो squat है उसमें ये challenge है, ये आप कर सकती हैं, and he gives the reason behind it. JC, I feel it will put a lot of ease to women and men.
I think it's very simple. Ask them for permission to have your permission to touch you.
Absolutely.
And because it's completely asexual, it shouldn't be a problem. But if you don't take the permission, and if, let's say, what you're saying, the antennas is up, sometimes even despite your best intention, it can be misconstrued as some sort of like a sexual move.
Absolutely, because then you're putting that across, you're putting that aside, and then the focus is only on fitness and what you are there for, right? You're putting that away. बहुत सारे, मतलब मेरे ज़िंदगी में मैंने बहुत सारे ऐसे अपने खुद के कॉन्सेप्ट्स बनाए हैं, यहाँ से पढ़ के वहाँ से पढ़ के, कि मुझे याद नहीं मैंने लास्ट कब वाइट ब्रेड खाया था, और पिज़्ज़ा भी मुझे याद नहीं मैंने कब खाया था, क्योंकि मुझे बताया गया है कि डोंट यू लाफ, माय टीम इज़ लाफिंग देयर, कि वाइट ब्रेड नहीं खाना चाहिए, क्योंकि वाइट ब्रेड अगर खाएंगे तो you end up having like a belly. So one is that I miss my vada pav. I don't remember when I had my vada pav. So refined food के बारे में बात करते हैं.
Sure.
Refined food क्या हम daily खा सकते हैं या नहीं खा सकते हैं in our fitness journey?
Of course खा सकते हैं, कोई problem नहीं है. But people have to understand that rather than looking at foods in terms of black and white, good and bad, or refined and processed versus unrefined, unprocessed, we have to understand concepts of quantity is what matters, right? Even if you, let's say, eat unrefined foods in very small quantities, they will not hurt you. Refined foods in very small quantities, they will not hurt you. But even, let's say, if you eat fruits in very large quantities, they can hurt you. You can get kidney stones. There was this famous philosopher, his name was John Agripulus, and he died of eating too many watermelons, which is crazy, right? Because everybody thinks, hey, watermelon is such a healthy fruit. But if you eat 20 watermelons, it is high in potassium, not even very high in potassium, like a little bit. But if you eat 20 watermelons, the potassium level just goes up, affects your heart, he got an arrhythmia, he died. So in the history of philosophers dying of all the weird reasons, this was probably top 3, top 4, dying of eating too many watermelons. Yes. So the point I'm trying to make is that food is not good and bad, the quantity. The dosage makes the poison. In medical terms, they have this very simple concept: dosage makes the poison.
Dosage makes the poison.
Dosage makes the poison. So when you make, like when you get a virus, how do they make antivirus? They take a viral strand of the same virus, but the quantity is like very small. And that's how they make antiviral medication. When you get bit by a snake, the antivenom comes from the snake's venom itself. The quantity is very less. So it's the quantity that's good or bad, not the food per se. So having bread is not a problem. One slice of bread probably has, let's say, 50 to 70 calories. It's nothing compared to your daily intake. Having one bread is not a problem. A slice of pizza would probably have 250 calories. If your daily intake is, let's say, 2000 calories, having 250 calories from one slice of pizza is not a problem. Having 800 calories from whole pizza is a problem. Having 6 breads in a day where it's making up to like 500 calories and you're still not satiated, you're feeling hungry, that is a problem. So problem is people eat these highly refined foods in large quantities where they keep eating and they're not feeling satiated, and so they keep eating it more and more and more thinking they're hungry. When they're not really hungry, they're just craving for the taste. That's where people go wrong.
I came up with this concept. I didn't come up, as in I attended a workshop and they spoke about something called a epitomy. So it's your brain, it's like it's constantly telling you you're hungry, but you're actually not hungry. You just need water.
Yeah, you're just thirsty, or you just crave the same taste.
Yes.
If we enjoy doing something, we want to do it more and more. It's binge watching, binge eating, all these are same things. It's your brain's way of telling you, hey, I loved it, let's do it again.
JC, I'm going to have my pizza every day now.
A slice of pizza.
Slice of pizza.
Yeah. Knowing well enough that it has to be countered with the rest of the meals should be balanced and mindful. So if you want to have a slice of pizza, the rest of the food should be really clean, whole foods. Because pizza is a highly palatable food, which means that it will trigger your cravings.
अच्छा, तो मैं और खाने लगूंगी उसके बाद.
Exactly, it happens. Especially if you're a beginner, it's a good idea to maybe include 20% of your favorite foods, but 80% of that has to come from clean foods, whole foods, so that you're not hungry. It's a very good idea, because if you go on like full-fledged restriction, we're not eating pizza, one fine day you'll give up, you'll be like, no, I can't live my life like this, I have to have pizza, and you'll go crazy. And months of progress, you will take it out on a cheat meal, and then you'll probably stop working out, and they'll be like, no, I don't want to do this. So it's better to include some of your favorite foods, comfort foods, on a daily basis, maybe 20% of it, and 80% should be like good food, nutritious food, protein rich food.
JC, हम हमेशा जवान कैसे लग सकते हैं?
No, you can't. That's the thing.
How? But there is a way of age reversal. Look at you. You managed to keep yourself young and fit. I know a lot of my friends who they walk in and I can't tell they are in their 50s. They look like they are in their 20s. How do you manage to be ageless?
So you cannot be ageless. I'm very particular with the terminology. I'm very, very particular because people tend to misconstrue. You cannot reverse your age. You cannot reverse aging. What you can do is you can fix some of the damage which is fixable. You can optimize your aging process. So usually what's happening is people are not aging optimally. They experience what is referred to as accelerated aging because they are not eating right, they are not exercising, they are not sleeping enough. And so you'd see people who are like their 20s looking like their 40s because they are aging in a very accelerated manner. I have not reversed my aging, I'm just aging optimally. Okay, this is how any person would age if they followed what I follow, or if they followed the basic science of like sleeping enough, eating right, exercising every day, drinking plenty of water, and just keeping a stressful life, even though it's very difficult, but it's doable. And you have to practice it. As the longer you practice it, the more optimal this process becomes. And the signs of aging become less and less visible in your body. You getting what I'm saying? It's very different from reversing your age. You can't reverse your age. It's a biological process that moves forward.
And it's beautiful in its own way.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, I think we need to embrace it, and very beautifully put. I think for me, again, it's an aha moment, because it's always been ki age reversal karna hai, age reversal.
You can't reverse your age.
But it is. What was the term you coined?
Aging optimally.
Aging optimally.
Yes, a lot of people are aging in an accelerated manner. If you age gracefully, you age optimally by doing the right things, the signs of aging are less and less visible.
Do you take supplements?
I take whey protein from time to time.
Supplements क्या help करता है?
Nothing. Supplements don't help with anything. Supplements are basically supplements, not replacements. So if you're not able to meet, let's say, certain macronutrients or micronutrients from your diet, because you're a vegetarian or a vegan, or let's just say you have a busy lifestyle, when you are out on a busy day and you're not able to complete your protein, it helps to take a protein bar or a whey protein supplement. Or let's say you're not getting enough protein from the diet that you're consuming, it's helpful to take whey protein.
Yeah. So supplements in an optimum level, understanding the supplements is good, it's fine, right?
Yeah, I mean, apart from whey protein, there's not really much. Like, sure, you can take caffeine, it keeps you awake, it can help you with performance. Maybe 2-3 more supplements which can be helpful for an athlete, but for general population, besides whey protein, maybe vitamin D and multivitamins in case you have a micronutrient deficiency, but that's about it. Besides this, I don't believe in unnecessarily, putting different kinds of supplements in your body. Like, if you want macros and micros, just stick to whole foods. That's the best way. And vegetables, eat lots of green vegetables. I eat spinach every single day, 300 grams of spinach or methi. I have to have.
Man. Right. Because for me, the spinach and Popeye go together. And
Yeah, same. So even I used to watch Popeye when I was a kid, right? And that's actually when I learned that
God,
eating.
you look like Popeye to me. Seriously, you look like Popeye to me. The Indian version of Popeye.
So when we were kids, we used to love watching Popeye, and that's basically where I learned this habit of eating spinach. And everybody told me, like, don't eat so much spinach. It doesn't help. But I loved spinach all the way through my childhood, and I love eating spinach. Even every single day, I eat spinach mushroom cream. That's my favorite food. I eat every day now.
Don't laugh at me.
Sure.
मैं spinach का sandwich बनाती हूँ क्योंकि मैं कच्चा खाना. I told you the concept
right,
of कच्चा खाना, right?
Yeah,
so I make like my sandwich. Okay, guys. So I used to not have like white bread, so I made this spinach sandwich. So you have your tomatoes and your onion and your kakdi and then spinach, and I showed it to a couple of my family members that, yay, मैं sandwich खा रही हूँ, and they were like, this is disgusting. We don't know who you are, and how could this be even sandwich? Not only that, my pizza. तो मैंने जो pizza है, एक बार क्या हुआ, मैंने अपने दोस्तों को घर पे बुलाया और मैंने कहा पिज़्ज़ा पार्टी है, और उनको नहीं बताया कि मैं कैसी हूँ, मेरा फिटनेस क्या है. तो मैंने बोला कि वी आर गोना हैव पिज़्ज़ा. वो लोग बहुत एक्साइटेड थे यार, पिज़्ज़ा. तो मैंने क्या किया, मैंने मिलेट जो है ना, मिलेट, उसके ऊपर कांदा, कैप्सिकम सब काटा, ऐसे ही डाल दिया और मैंने कहा ये है तुम्हारा मिलेट पिज़्ज़ा. They lost their cool. They're like, we disown you. My brother doesn't come home because he's like, what is this ghaspoos that you have? Rabbit food in the last life. I think you were a rabbit. You doing this to us, torture. So I'm just saying this because it has helped me a bit, but I don't think obviously this is the way. क्योंकि मुझे ऐसा लगता है ये punishment है.
It is a punishment.
And nobody is getting any more punishments.
No, I think one of the main reason why this whole concept of why people don't want to diet and exercise is because they associate dieting and training with punishment. And when you associate something with punishment, you want to delay it. And that's why people are like, I'll work out from next Monday. I'll join the gym from next year, next month. They don't want to do it right now because it's not fun. But if there's something fun, if somebody asks you, hey, do you want to go for a movie? You'd be like, sure, right? You're excited about it. So rather than making dieting and training a punishment, we have to make it more fun.
Yeah.
Like I love eating my food every single day.
Yeah.
You know, if I loved pizza, I would probably have pizza every single day, but I'll make my pizza at home. I'll make it tasty enough, but not too tasty, right? So there's a fine balance between having tasty food versus having overly tasty foods which you can't stop eating, right? So I love my soya biryani. Sometimes when I have egg instead of soya, I have egg biryani, and biryani is biryani.
Yeah.
Right? I love it. Then spinach mushroom cream, it tastes like a perfect 5-star dish. I love it. And then I have this yogurt with my muesli and dry fruits and everything.
Mouth-watering.
Yeah, yeah.
I just realized I'm hungry. And I also want to say that I think I know why I have a lot of people who unfollowed me on social media is because I was promoting that spinach sandwich. They were like, we do not want to follow this woman. We're not having that nonsense. But yes, you're absolutely right. Food needs to be exciting, food needs to be fun, and it cannot be a punishment.
It shouldn't be a punishment. You know, it is nourishment for our bodies. So again, there's a fine line, like I was explaining before, the concept of palatability versus satiety. If the palatability goes up, satiety goes down, right? So there has to be a fine balance. See, nobody eats tablespoons of sugar. People tend to blame sugar. Sugar is unhealthy, sugar is that, sugar and that. But I've not seen people eating tablespoons of sugar like that. They can't, because it's boring. Nobody wants to eat sugar out of a sugar bowl. You know, they eat sugar when it's put in cake. They eat sugar when it's put in hyper palatable foods. You know, and why sugar? People love eating chole bhatures. People love eating, all sorts of namkeen stuff, which is not even sugar. So I'm saying what people need to understand is that food is not good or bad. Rather, this understand that there are foods which are extremely palatable but poor in satiety, and there are foods which have like moderate satiety and moderate palatability. Stick with foods which have moderate satiety and moderate palatability, because when you go out in a restaurant, their primary intention is to make sure that you come back again. The only reason you're ever going to come back again if the food is super tasty, triggers your taste buds and want to make you come back again. So they make the food extra tasty. Nobody gets unfit by just eating homemade foods. You get unfit because you go out in the restaurants, you start eating food, and then you just can't stop eating it because it's so damn tasty.
Yeah. As a entrepreneur, मैंने एक वीडियो देखा है आपका जहाँ पर आप इसके बारे में बात कर रहे थे, डिप्रेशन के बारे में बात कर रहे थे. And I think that is something that I found common between both of us, because I'm an entrepreneur myself, and there are times employees, taxes, hiring process, it just feels overwhelming. नहीं समझ में आता है कि कैसे क्या करें. And I have also gone through that process of being depressed and not understanding how to go about with it. And finding, as a female entrepreneur, I feel the help is even more scarce.
Yeah, true.
आपने इस founder depression को कैसे manage किया?
I mean, this was back in 2017-18. And you know what founder's depression is? Basically imposter syndrome. So it's not like I was doing poorly. It's not that the business was doing poorly. Everything was perfect. Everything was so perfect. And you just feel this feeling of inadequacy. You're like, you're not enough, or you are pretending to be somebody that you're not, or you're not fit to be a leader of this company which is doing so well, right? And the way to counter that, I realized that maybe if I learned more. So I started applying to colleges, I started applying to university. I said, hey, maybe if I get a formal degree in education, I'd feel better about myself, because let's be honest, I'm just a software engineer who did not know the meaning of P&L, and now suddenly running a multi-million-dollar business, and people are talking to me as if I'm like some sort of a seasoned entrepreneur, which I was not. I still don't consider myself as like a seasoned entrepreneur. I'm like a guy who learned things, and then So, in hopes of learning, I applied to MIT bootcamp. At the time, we were in Tokyo, and then I just found out that it happens with everybody. 80% of founders around the world, they struggle with founders depression, and the best way to tackle it is just by talking to people. And then you talk to other founders, and then you realize, oh, you have the same problem, I have the same problem. And so suddenly this feeling of inadequacy goes away. So I think at the time you also tend to compare to that guy is a good entrepreneur because he's from IIM, or this guy is a great entrepreneur because he's from this and that. But then you also come across a lot of people who are probably not from, like these Ivy League colleges, but have made but have gone through the similar journey that as of yours and similar to yours, and you feel much better. So I think talking helps, definitely.
Connecting, sharing.
Yes.
With others who are in the same boat.
Yes, it helps.
And just acknowledging what you're going through.
Yes.
Really helps. I think you've got to reach out to more people and just share the story. Because क्या होता है ना, कभी-कभी vulnerable होने के लिए डर लगता है.
True.
To go out there, just say, hey, I'm struggling with this.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can't say this to anybody else because they will not understand. They especially would not understand unless they've been in your shoes. I don't think it happens as much to any other professionals as much as happens to founders. Founders have a disproportionate chance of suffering from founders depression. Like I said, 80% founders suffer from founders depression at some point in their lives. So if you're a founder, speak to other founders. Regular people will not understand what you're going through. Speak to founders. They'll understand immediately what's happening with you.
Fantastic. JC, फिटनेस इंडस्ट्री के बेस्ट चीज़ जो आपको बहुत पसंद है और जो चीज़ बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं है, जो चेंज होना चाहिए, वो क्या है?
I think the best part about being in fitness industry is that you don't have this feeling of guilt. You don't have a guilty conscience, because what you're doing is changing lives. If I was doing, let's say, a business of alcohol or selling people tambaku and gutka, knowing well enough that this is going to destroy their lives, I don't know how I would wake up and look myself in the mirror. Even if it made me like $1 billion, I wouldn't do it. I'm just not that kind of a person. So I think fitness is a very noble profession where you genuinely help people in a very positive manner. Nobody can say anything, nobody should say anything bad about fitness industry because you literally are saving lives. So I think that's the part about fitness industry that I really love, the kind of impact that you make, and the impact is real. The thing that I hate about fitness industry is that over relying on unscientific concepts and peddling supplements as a way to get fit. I firmly believe that nobody needs supplements. Supplements can be convenient for small majority of the people, small number of people, small minority of the people, but nobody who has access to variety of foods needs supplements. So I think the whole supplement industry needs to calm down a little bit, and people need to calm down a little. They don't need supplements. This is what I keep telling people, that you don't need supplements. You just have to fix your food habits. And see, the problem is if you take whey protein, you're drinking it, and drinking is never going to make you feel satiated compared to eating something, right? So if you derive protein and calories from whole foods, that's going to keep you fuller for much longer versus if you're drinking your calories. It's never a good idea, right? So stick to whole foods, high protein foods, and eat them. That's better than supplements.
Wow. So a lot of myths we've busted in this podcast, and thank you so much that you come all the way from Pune. You're a part of such wisdom and the impact that you're creating for India, making it fitter, especially our youngsters. It's the need of the hour, right? So thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you could make it to this podcast.
And thank you so much for inviting me.
Anything that you would want to say to your audience?
Yeah, sure. So if you guys want to get fit, if you have trouble understanding what's the right place to start, please feel free to join the FITTR Facebook community. It's FITTR. It's a huge community. We have close to 7 lakh people there. Yeah. Ask your questions. It's completely free of cost. You can also find my book, Get Shredded. It is also completely free of cost. And lastly, please read more, understand the scientific concepts. The more you read, the more you learn about nutrition, training, hydration, motion, rest and recovery, the more you would be able to keep yourself fit for the rest of your life.
Thank you, JC. In fact, I'm going to put the link on the description for all of you, so it's much easier if you want to find the app FITTR. And thank you so much. बहुत मुझे तो काफ़ी सारा ज्ञान मिला है. In fact, I've realized that there's a lot of mindset shift that I need to do. And I'm sure there were nuggets of knowledge for all of you also. So thank you for joining. अगर आप कुछ भी पूछना चाहते हो तो comments पे ज़रूर लिखिए. Do like, share, subscribe and see you on the next podcast. Thank you.